And this opposition is T-square. Each end of it is 90 degrees to Mars conjunct Chiron. A wounded Mars, but we need to learn from wounded energies. And Chiron is indeed retrograde all month. And so wounds will tend to become more surfaced into our consciousness when Chiron is retrograde, calling for us to heal the Chiron wound, and we'll then be able to heal wounds in others. So, and of course Mercury will receive blocks and pessimism from Saturn, but Mercury is also caught up in the Jupiter-Pluto explosive expansionary tidal wave. And in the middle of the month, of course, Mercury goes through that difficult, immaterial Cancer-Leo Gandanta zone. And at that exact time, the Sun is going through it. So Mercury is harmed by being too close to the Sun. And indeed, at that same time, Mars is in the Pisces Aries Gandanta. So a very strong Gandanta energy of immateriality, of not giving enough substance to this world, perhaps, but finding great spiritual awareness potentially, great inspiration, and a lot of turbulent events, and indeed, weather events and earthquakes can happen at this sort of time with Mars in the Gandanta and Uranus stationary. By the 27th of August, Mercury has moved into close opposition to Neptune. And I love, Neptune aspects myself, because positively this is visionary. This is intuitive. But negatively, of course, it could be delusions, illusions, secrets and lies. You have to be careful and discriminating. And when you do get good and wonderful gifts from Neptune, try to hang on to them. Try to keep them flowing forward into your life. Okay, let's turn to Venus in August 2020. Well, Venus starts off August conjunct Rahu, the north node of the moon. It's at 2 Gemini in Mrigashira Nakshatra, ruled by Mars. And so this is not a good time for the purity of the Venus energy. One would have to be careful about a driven edge to it. And this driven Rahu and Mars rulership will affect love, sex and beauty issues, as well as the economies of the world, where it'll bring turbulence. But there's also a Venus-Neptune aspect, and that's a very sublime manifestation of the ideal of love and beauty. It is such a wonderful potential, as long as it isn't the negative side of illusion and delusion and Pied Piperism. So this time has a potential to be really creative as Venus moves into Vedic Gemini. And it could give you effective and indeed beautiful communication. But Venus and Jupiter are opposition, exact, on the 25th of August, when Venus is at 23 Gemini and Jupiter is at 23 Sagittarius. On the negative side, this could be going overboard with the principles of both Venus and Jupiter. But hear that this is in the heavens, because ideally it is merging and combining Jupiter's expansion and blessing and purpose to harmonize Venus's qualities of love and beauty. You see, Venus and Jupiter don't naturally work together well. Jupiter calls us to take the big picture, whereas Venus is calling us to understand and enjoy love, sex, beauty, creativity and money. So hearing that, hopefully, will say that there is a need to scale down Jupiter rah-rah-rah overexpression and properly balance Jupiterian blessing and expansion with principles of love and beauty and what you're doing. Now, Venus enters Vedic Cancer on August the 31st, and the Venus Moon combination that you get, because Moon rules Cancer, is unstable for Venus issues of love, sex, beauty and finances. Okay, let's turn to Mars. I warned you it was complex and changing, but important to hear and understand. So Mars starts the month conjunct Chiron, and at the apex of a T-square at 90 degrees to the opposition of Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto on the one hand, opposition Mercury on the other. Well, that is so huge. Oh, and I'll be doing obviously a specialist video and blog about it. And note there's a risk with Mars squaring Jupiter transiting in Sagittarius. There could be a lot of religious fundamentalism, but positively, of course, it's genuine spiritual inspiration. Do note that Mars is square Pluto exact on August the 13th. Mars square Pluto is such a violent energy. Be careful of violence and accidents on August the 13th and the surrounding days. Be careful, because we may get angry, we may experience violent, aggressive emotions. Handle this lovingly and well. In fact, note that Mars continues in a close square to Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, that great conjunction that hasn't been in Vedic Sagittarius for hundreds of years, until the end of the month. Now remember, Mars square Saturn is violent because Saturn insists on things being done right, patience, endurance, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Whereas Mars says, stuff that, I want it now. And of course they don't really get on, but we have to make them get on. They need to be brought to get together. So we get Mars energy and Saturn's structure and diligence and patience. Mars starts August at 24 Pisces and it reaches the start of Vedic Aries in the depth of the Pisces Aries Gandanta on the 16th of August. So, together with Mercury and the Sun, here's a third planet at the same time, transiting a Gandanta zone. And Mars ends the month at 3 Aries. So, note that Mars is in a turbulent Gandanta state on and off until the end of 2020. See my upcoming video and blog on Mars Dangerous in August 2020. That'll be coming out with a bundle of other videos and blogs in the next 10 days or so. Now, Mars in Vedic Aries from the 16th of August can be a blessing if we manage it right. It can be the needed burst of positive, action man, constructive energy. Look out for that. Maybe you need it. I feel I do. And as I said, the astrology of this time is also changeable. But notice that Mars is direct in Aries from August the 16th to September the 9th. And Mars is retrograde in Aries from September the 9th to October the 3rd. And of course realise that negatively Mars in Aries is anger, hostility, riding roughshod over others. And this could be a very difficult time for those people with their moon, their natal moon, at the end of Vedic Pisces and the beginning of Vedic Aries, or opposite that at the end of Vedic Virgo and the beginning of Vedic Libra. I have my moon in the Gandanta at the end of Pisces, and I'm not looking forward to what excoriating Mars does to a supersensitive moon. Remember, Mars in Aries is the assertive winner, and we can handle that well and valuably and spiritually valuable. And Mars will be in Aries twice this year, from August the 16th to October the 3rd, and then on December the 23rd, remaining in Aries until February the 21st, 2021. Do be aware that when Mars is retrograde, it can be very conflictful. Okay, let's move to Jupiter. Jupiter, Brihaspati, Guru, god of expansion, blessing and sense of purpose. So obviously Jupiter is part of the Jupiter-Pluto-Saturn conjunction, about which I plan to do 3 more detailed videos in the next 10 days or so. And note that that conjunction is opposite Venus. So be aware of the nuances and effects of that on your Venus life. Note that the opposition of Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn to Venus grows even stronger from the 20th of August. So we really do need to understand the nature of the Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto conjunction, because it affects each of us and it affects the societies we live in. So see the 3 upcoming blogs about this. And okay, basically Jupiter-Pluto is explosive breakthrough and expansion, positively or negatively handled. Saturn is structure and strategy, or blocks and prison walls, depending on our level of awareness and how we handle it. So Jupiter-Pluto smash at Saturn. Saturn negatively could seek to imprison Jupiter-Pluto. So important to understand what the Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto transit is doing in your life now. You know, get a reading from me and I'll explain fully, looking at, for example, the houses that that Jupiter and Pluto are in, Vedic Sagittarius, and that Saturn is in, Vedic Capricorn. What's it all about for you? How can it best be handled? Saturn is super strong all August. Super strong because he's in his own sign of Vedic Capricorn, and he's in Uttarashada Nakshatra. So it's obviously a tough time with those people who have moon in late Sagittarius and especially early Capricorn, and especially in Uttarashada Nakshatra, because they're in the very epicenter of Sade Sate, and they need to understand that. And the whole sequence of Saturn through the sign before the sign of your moon, the sign of your moon, and the sign after your moon. Or more accurately, charting Saturn transits through the nakshatras either side of the nakshatra your moon occupies. Do get in touch with me if you're in Sade Sate and want top level explanation of what that will mean and how to handle it. So Saturn is retrograde all month, retrograding from 3 degrees to 1 degree Vedic Capricorn. And be aware, this can cause depression even, particularly for Capricorn people, particularly for Cancer people. Say you have Sun, Moon, Ascendant in Cancer opposite. You could well suffer from leaden feeling and depression at this time of Saturn retrograde. And Librans will be affected because Mars in Aries and Saturn in Capricorn are both casting an aspect on Libra. Please understand that. Okay, the nodes of the moon. Rahu, the north node, transits from 2 degrees Vedic Gemini to 1 degree Vedic Gemini. The nodes actually change sign next month on the 23rd of September. So Rahu will then enter Vedic Taurus, retrograding into Taurus. And all the while, Rahu is in Mrigashira Nakshatra ruled by Mars. And when Rahu left Ardra, and the Rahu-Ardra transit was the signature for coronavirus starting up, when Rahu left Ardra and entered Mrigashira, I felt the violence and arguing and so forth, energy around me increase, and indeed there was a lot of rioting in the United States. So whilst Rahu is transiting Mrigashira Nakshatra, particularly at this time when it's in the fourth pada of Mrigashira, the fourth quarter, which is ruled by Scorpio, watch out for a tendency to throw ourselves too much into a combative Mars state. Always opposite Rahu, of course, there's Ketu, the south node. Ketu transits from 2 degrees Vedic Sagittarius to 1 degree Vedic Sagittarius. And this is in Mula Nakshatra, which is ruled by Ketu. So the effect of Ketu is super powerful. And the sign it's in is, of course, Sagittarius, so you can get, and I feel I have had huge spiritual and visionary insights at this time. And of course, this is also the Gandanta zone, and I have certainly found a great increase. In visionary inspired statements, say from students and so forth, and in people doing vision journeys on my shamanic healer course, which is part of the Druid Forest School. And the nodes, as I said, change sign next month on the 23rd of September. Okay, we've got to the outer planets. Uranus is square the Sun. So Uranus at 16 Aries is square the Sun at 15 Cancer. And this continues as a close Sun-Uranus square until August the 13th. That is a revolutionary energy. And I feel I need revolution. Maybe you do. But we have to handle it wisely, of course. And we're talking about Uranus in Aries. And do remember something that is forgot. The last time that Uranus was invading Aries, Hitler burnt down the Reichstag and started up World War II. That is the energy we are in now, and that's the truth. I'm not saying there'll be World War, but there's obviously a lot of violent, revolutionary energy, for good or ill, handled well or badly. And indeed, Uranus square the Sun can bring a needed revolution thunderbolt into our consciousness and awareness, into our life. And Uranus turns retrograde on the 15th of August at 16 degrees Vedic Aries. And when Uranus turns retrograde, it calls for us to consolidate our revolution, to make it more real, to ground it, to understand it more fully, to integrate it into the rest of us. Good time if you want to bring in revolution. But at the time Uranus stations in mid-August, it is a violent energy because of the nodes of the moon transiting Mars and Ketu-ruled nakshatras and about to change sign, and about to be caught up in 2 more eclipses upcoming in 2020. Neptune in August. Neptune is square the nodal axis. This means it's very powerful and destined. When a planet is square the nodal axis, it often, if it's particularly square our nodal axis, or square, to a lesser degree square the nodal axis in the heavens, it can bring up past life material that is unfinished. And Neptune negatively is about secrets and lies and illusions and Pied Pipers. But positively is wonderful vision, intuition, energetic sensitivities, just wonderful. And, you know, people are writing in wonderful stuff on my runes course and my work to do with the Norse and Irish gods, and in the astrology course. In Master Vedic Astrology website, there's several astrology courses, foundation and further. So Neptune energies will be highlighted at this time, and at the best they are vision, intuition and vision work. And on the 27th of August, Mercury has moved into close opposition to Neptune, dangerous for some, wonderful if you can handle it and bring out its vast potential. Okay, Pluto. Well, Pluto retrogrades from 29 degrees Vedic Sagittarius to 28 degrees Vedic Sagittarius. And his energy is melding into Jupiter, explosive expansion. But of course he's very close to Saturn, so it's a Saturn-Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in essence. And if Pluto is transiting in aspect to one of your natal planets, this is such strong power. I have Pluto transiting square my natal sun, square my natal moon. And, you know, I really do feel I'm coming more into power that was denied me. And I'm pleased about this. Lastly, Chiron. Well, Chiron is square Venus. So by the 14th of August, Chiron is at 15 Pisces, Venus is at 12 Gemini. And this square continues strong and close until the 20th of August. By the way, Chiron is retrograding all month from 15 to 14 Vedic Pisces. Now, if Chiron is transiting conjunct or opposition one of your natal